Let me ask you a question. Do you believe in revenge? Revenge comes in many shapes and sizes. Sometimes it can be minor, like a prank in replacement of a prank, or it could be something extra deadly. Unfortunately, pranks themselves can also be deadly. And when it's also linked to bullying, it's one of the most devastating things in the world. This is a story of a young girl who got so badly bullied that to this day, she still will haunt you if you do not believe her story. There once was a young girl. She'd been moving from state to state. Her father had had to move numerous of times for her job. This meant that she very rarely made friends. At that time that she was in high school, this was in America, she had no friends. She didn't know anyone in the city at all. And she was very nervous. She was practically a new kid halfway through a semester. That's quite a scary thing. Unfortunately, there was a group of girls who saw her nervousness, saw that she was new, saw that she was vulnerable, and dug their claws into that. They started bullying her and picking on her. Originally, it was just teasing, giggles, name-calling, moving away from her in the corridor, but it started to get worse. One time, she picked up her notebook that she swore was in her bag, but was found on the floor, and it had horrible writing written on the cover. Another time, she picked up her coat from the coat hanger, only to find that someone had put dog poo in her pockets. The worst thing that happened was when she opened her book bag and discovered someone had put custard all over her stuff. This was the last straw for her. That day, she made the executive decision that she was going to tell a teacher what was going on. Unfortunately, I am to say, she should have done it sooner. That very same day, before school had ended, there was a scheduled fire drill. Everyone lined up outside of the school and started responding to their names. A teacher was standing in the middle, calling out people's names. The wicked girls decided that this was a perfect opportunity to embarrass the poor new girl. So as the names were being called and students were putting their hands up and saying, "Here, here, here," the girls started to circle the new girl. They got closer to her. They started to circle her. She was getting scared and trying to shuffle away to keep away from them. As she shuffled away, they started edging her, circling her, circling, until she accidentally stepped into an open pothole that no one had seen, an open sewer hole. At that very same moment that she fell, a teacher called out her name. One of the girls put up their hand and said, "She's in the sewer!" In response, and a load of students laughed in response to this. They thought it was a huge joke. Until they looked inside the sewer. There the little girl lay. Her legs broken. She'd fallen through the sewers. She was covered in grime. She'd landed on her head, so her neck was broken. And in the process of the fall, her head had hit the ladder, and her face had been scratched away, completely scraped. There was just blood and gore where there should have been a face. The whole school was shut down. Police were called, ambulance was called, the whole emergency services were called. The teacher didn't find it funny. No one else found it funny afterwards. And everyone felt sorry for the little girl. As you can imagine, everyone was kept behind to explain to the police what had happened, including the girls. The girls lied to the police. They said that they had been standing there minding their own business when they'd seen her trip and fall into the sewage system. The whole incident was labelled as a horrible accident, and the case was closed. 4 days later, something known as chainmail. I should explain what chainmail is. If you ever get an email, or what was known as ASM, but will now be known as Facebook mail, telling a story or with a picture, and you're told, send this picture or this image or this story to 5 other people or you will be cursed for the rest of your life. This is what is known as chainmail. The idea is that you send it to another 5 people, they send it to another 5, they send it to another 5, and it spreads like wildfire. Well, people in the school started to receive this chainmail. The chainmail was a newspaper clipping from the incident. Written over the newspaper clipping was the words, "They murdered her." It didn't reveal who they were, but underneath in bold it said whoever had been involved in the young girl's death, the new girl's death, should report themselves to the police straight away or there will be dire consequences. Some people took it seriously. Others thought that it was just a sick joke and who would do such a thing. One person even responded to the email saying how disgusted that they were that someone would send this horrible, horrible thing. Meanwhile, the girls, they'd seen the email and they'd completely dismissed it. They did not care. The head girl, the one that had come up with the actual plan, went upstairs and started washing her hair. She was getting ready for bed. As she washed her hair, she swore she could hear what sounded like giggling coming from the drainage system of the shower. Whatever the giggling was, it freaked her up so much that she got out of the shower and refused to go into the bathroom for the rest of the night. That night, she went to bed. At around about 2 o'clock in the morning, a strange banging noise came from the girl's room. When the head girl's parents went into the girl's room, she was nowhere to be seen. There was no sign of a struggle. There was no sign of a break-in. She just disappeared. Nobody knew where she'd gone. Until the next day, when students came into the school, and down in the sewer, the exact same sewer that the poor new girl had met her fate, the head girl was lying in the sewer, covered in muck, neck broken, and her face had been scraped clean off. The exact same injuries that the new girl had had. Within a space of a week, 4 others of the original girls who had come up with this ploy and done this horrible thing had met the exact same fate as the head girl. Two of the girls, however, were very lucky, but they only did one thing. After the others had died, they went to the police and they confessed everything that had happened. It is said to this day that the new girl crawls through the sewers, attacking people who do not believe what had happened to her. Whether it was they do not believe her story or they do not believe that she was murdered. I certainly believe that something bad happened to her. I certainly believe that she was murdered. And I do kind of believe the story. By kind of, there are a few things that have sort of debunked the legend a little bit. One being, there's no sign of the newspaper clipping that appeared in the chainmail. There's no record of a young girl of the age that this new girl was. However, I've learned a long time ago never to test legends. If the girl is listening, I do believe in the legend. I do believe that you were murdered. I'm sorry that you were murdered, and I hope that one day your spirit can rest. But let me know if you believe her story. And I hope you have a fantastic night. Keep safe and enjoy your Halloween. Take care.